The UI and UX departments at Allplan have worked extensively on all aspects related to the graphical interface. In particular, they have introduced a so-called new WPF framework based on Windows technology to improve the daily work experience within the interface. As we will see, many components have undergone a series of significant improvements that, in fact, enhance everyday use. Let's take a first look at the graphical interface based on this new type of framework. As you can see, the interface is noticeably much flatter and also much more organized in various different aspects, starting from the different color palettes to the individual dialogues. This updated layout really helps to make everything clearer and easier to use. But let's try to go into more detail and make some comparisons with the previous version. On the left, for example, here you can notice and appreciate a parallel between the dimension line palette in 2025 and that in 2026 to see how all the options that come into play are much more readable, much more spaced out from each other, and some controls are clearer in terms of usability, such as the stacking order of the elements. The exact same thing applies, for example, to the pillar, where once again it's immediately and obviously clear that in these fields I need to enter values rather than select them directly within certain types of sub-dialogues. Many palettes have also become interactive at the same time. Let me explain better. Especially when dealing, for example, with multi-layer elements such as a wall or a floor slab or even a foundation slab, I used to have to rely on these small drop-down menus where I would essentially select the current state, the entire object, all the layers, and so on. Thanks to these small icons, I could switch from one layer to another. With the new version, everything has become much more intuitive because I can directly interact with the graphical layer, or I can select the layer entirely numerically, obviously with the option to also change values such as, in this specific case, the thickness. Let's now talk about the contextual menus, which have undergone a significant redesign. Once again, they have become more compact. If you try to compare 2025 and 2026, they are much more compact. Why? Because many basic functions are now found directly in the header of the contextual menu. So right here, I will have the ability to assign attributes to my objects. I can isolate my elements based on the document or the layer. I can manage the stacking order. I can handle formatting properties. I can adjust the transparency of objects or access the specific properties of the selected element. Another new feature in addition to the header is the appearance of this repeat menu, which we'll have a chance to appreciate in just a moment, since from here we can directly access all the functions I use most frequently. And last but not least, all the shortcuts associated directly with my functions are now displayed in the contextual menus. So now I'll immediately become familiar with the shortcuts available within Allplan. Speaking of shortcuts, a new method for defining shortcuts has been introduced. In the past, it was mainly possible to use letters together with other keys like the Control key, the Shift key, the Alt key, and so on. A typical situation, Control C, Control V to copy and paste, Control A to select all elements, and so on. Now I can define up to 3 independent letters, so I could use a single letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, or combine those 3 letters with other additional keys, such as Shift or Shift and Control, or even Shift, Control, Alt, and the 3 letters. Obviously, don't overdo it, because at that point it would actually be easier to just select the function directly from the action bar. These options are extremely important for your daily performance. One aspect to highlight is that the version automatically comes with this new shortcut system, shortcuts that can clearly be customized. If you prefer to use the shortcuts that were available in previous versions, you can go ahead and select them. If you come from the Revit or ArchiCAD worlds, you can also select predefined shortcut sets for those environments if needed.